All right, good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you to this edition of Living for Impact with Femi Olasunkanmi. And I believe you are keeping safe. I believe you are doing well. Number one, let me apologize for coming a bit late. It took us some time to really set up the studio. I'm sorry for coming a bit late today. And it's been 2 weeks. We had 2 weeks of break. But we are fully back. And I can say back and better. So for everyone who has actually been following, for those that are called, and for those that send messages, thank you very much. And I believe we are going to enjoy ourselves today again. So once again, welcome to Living for Impact with Femi Olasunkanmi. I want us to just take a few minutes to share this program. If you are online now, either on Facebook or on YouTube, can you please just share this program with a few of your friends. Share the program with a few of your friends so that more people can actually benefit from this. I want to quickly do that here too. Let's take a few minutes. Let's take a few minutes to share the program. I want to believe you are doing that. I'm also trying to do the same thing. We have 1 more minute to share the program. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. I want to believe we are sharing it. In a few moments from now, we are going to continue the program. Please feel free to share it. Let's share the program. Let it go viral. Let's share the program. If you are online, feel free also. All right, feel free also to drop a comment. Feel free to drop a comment. both on Facebook and YouTube. Please feel free to share, to drop a comment. All right. Yeah, let's roll now. Once again, I welcome every one of us to this program today. And today we are looking at sorry. Thank you. Today we are actually looking at leadership and followership, connection and disconnection. What do I mean? We are looking at in the area of our leadership, how do we connect? We also want to look at when do we disconnect? Now, considering the fact that the kind of leadership you have access to go a long way to determine your destination in life, go a long way to determine how well you will do in life. Um, we also need to understand that the kind of leadership you are exposed to, when you are exposed to the kind of leadership you are exposed to, whether you like it or not, structures you in a way, also determine what you get in life in a way. Then what should we do when you believe or the kind of when should we switch
welcome back. Sorry before the network logged us out. We're actually talking about different kinds of leadership that exist. So let's just take a few minutes to let people know that we are back. welcome back. Um, so before the network disappointed, we're actually talking about different kinds of leadership. Um, about let's just take a look at just two out of them. There is what we call the spiritual leadership, and there is the workplace leadership. There's a little difference in between the two, and there are places where they connect in terms of or they are similar in terms of operation. Now, for example, spiritual leadership. Um, Nobody really, yes, for spiritual leadership, um, it's just like a biological father. Nobody chooses who will be his biological father. You don't have power to choose who is your parent. You just come to this world and you just discover, oh, I was given birth to by this person and by that person. This is my mother, this is my father. You didn't choose any of them, you know, and automatically they become your leader. Um, they become your biological father, biological mother, and biological leaders. The same way, spiritually, you don't actually choose who is your spiritual father. Yes, you don't choose it. God does that. Because for as many of us who are actually born again, the day you got born again, uh, I want to believe it wasn't planned for. It's not something you planned for. You understand? And Paul says something. He says, you can have many instructors, but you only have one father. So now, talking from that angle, you will agree with me that if you can only have one father, and that's talking about even from the spiritual angle, there's somebody that actually gave birth to you, and you didn't choose that. God did that. God did that. Some of us, the day we got born again, it was, should I use the word, for us, it was accidental because it's something we didn't prepare for. But for God, it wasn't accidental. It was actually planned, you know. So in a way, sometimes you don't really choose who is your father, who is your spiritual father. You don't really have control over that. And you must have heard some people saying, oh, God led me to go to so person to be my father or what have you, some other things like that. Yes, it still boils down to the fact that God led you. And there's nobody that, as long as we're human being, there's nobody that doesn't have his own, uh, should I use the word, area of improvement, area that needs improvement. You understand? So the closer you are to any man, to anybody, the more the weakness, or let me use the word, the more you see the humanity of that person. And so the fact that you see the humanity side of a man is not really an excuse for you to disconnect. You know, it's not really an excuse for you to disconnect. And a lot of people have lost a lot of things because they actually disconnected when they should not. You understand? So the closer you are to somebody, the more you see the flaws, or the flaws, so to speak, from your own perspective, the flaws of that person. Because I've come to discover that sometimes what you think is even wrong or is not even correct is actually not wrong, is actually not correct. It's just your own perspective. And so you don't need to allow, it's just like somebody, like in Yoruba adage, they will say, Inu ikodudu leko funfun ti jade, that is,
Pap, you know what? Pap is white. White pap. Let me use it. Let me use that. White pap comes from black pot. You understand? So deliberately lead us to somebody who is actually tough, or that it may actually be the training that God wants us to take from that. A lot of people you know, all you need is to be sure that yes, this venture, uh, God is in it, and to also be sure of what God is trying to bring, or God is trying to make out of the circumstance. We are going to actually how to connect and how to disconnect areas. So the spiritual, looking at the spiritual leadership, it is actually God that brings the connectivities. God that actually bring the that orchestrate the connection. You know, and when it is also time for disconnection, it must also be God. Um, so that's a spiritual leadership. Workplace leadership. Place leadership, you have a bit of control, but not a total control on that one too. How do I mean? Yeah, you can join a company because you like probably the leadership style of somebody who is at the ends of affairs or what have you. Probably somebody invites you over, please come and join my company, and because you like that person, you join the company, or you have seen somebody from that company, just because either you like the company, or you like a colleague, or you like somebody who works there, or you like the manager or the leadership of the school, or of the organization, or you like the culture of that organization. You know, uh, you may join an organization based on that, but then that is not all you need to actually thrive or last in that organization. You know, let me quickly talk about culture in that in that aspect. You know, this afternoon I was reading, I came across a post somewhere, an inscription somewhere, and the person was saying, culture is what you do when the CEO is not around. You know, when the leadership of an organization is not around, what happens in that organization? That's the culture. So building, that's the culture has to be built. So you also understand that even in an organization where they have healthy and good culture, sometimes due to the current leadership of that organization, the culture of that organization may not be in full force. The real culture of that organization may be set aside. And that's why in an organization, let's say in a multinational company, for example, that has the same vision, that has the same core value, has the same culture. That's why when you get to a place, a segment, either a country or a territory or a region or of that organization, what you will see there is going to be different from what you see when you go to another territory, organization, or another territory, or another country, or another region. You understand? And what is the thing that actually causes the difference in this variation?
despite the fact that it's the same goal, it's the same vision, and what have you. It's supposed to be the same, to be the same culture. It is actually the leader in each of those places, either the regional leader or the territory leader or the national leader. You understand? So there's going to be some kind of variation. So that's why I'm saying now, even in workplace, there should be a culture, but that culture at one time or the other is not. You get to some places that is not. The culture is not in certain part of the culture is not in full force, or is being played down. So now, if you join the organization because of the culture, because of uh, all these things I've mentioned, because somebody asks, you see people that are working in the organization, probably in one region, and you just love them, and you enter now, and there's a change in leadership. Things is actually not going to be the same. Things will not be the same. So, in that wise, you may have to uh, make a critical decision. You understand? It's just like I read an article sometimes ago, and it was talking about, he said people don't leave organizations, people leave the leadership. You understand? That's why you see somebody in an organization who has been very happy and who has been very happy and didn't even has planned to stay long, and it's just all of a sudden it's just probably because of the change of leadership or what have you, you just feel, oh, this place is no longer conducive for me, you know. So, and that's why just John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on the leadership. So, for the workplace, yes, sometimes God may even lead you God may even lead you, but then, and that's why we need to, you see, a lot of people think that God's leading is, uh, should I use the word static, or, so you see, our relationship with God is supposed to be a continuous one. You understand? It's supposed to be a continuous one. God led you into something, yes, agreed. But is it actually the intention of God that that thing that God led you into, that you should be there permanently? It might not be. Are you even, do you know when your time is up? And so that's why we need to be in constant fellowship with the Holy Spirit, so as to know, uh, uh, so as to not to waste our time unnecessarily over any issue or in any place. So, leadership and followership. See, I said, uh, whether you like it or not, the person that is leading you is a factor in your destiny. See, no matter how talented you are, no matter how gifted you are, you cannot outshine. You cannot shine or perform more than you are allowed by your leader. So that is why whosoever is leading us is very, very important. So, and that's why I try to share what I shared in the first place, for us to know that some kind of leadership, you don't really have the timing, the transition is determined by God completely. And there are some that we also have power over. So the person that is leading you will determine how well you will shine. You see, when you are not the arrowhead, even if you have ideas, it is the one that the arrowhead allowed to fly that will fly. And one thing about idea is this:
The more you utilize the idea, the more idea you get. You understand? So, but then, whether your leader is leading well or not, God is not expecting us to rebel against them. You need patience, you need understanding, and you need prayers. You understand? You need understanding, you need prayers. So as also to know when you need to be confrontational in court. And what do I mean by that? When you need to actually present your observation. You know, sometimes we make some observation, we make some presentation to the leaders, and it seems the leaders don't buy into it. Sometimes it's not really that. Sometimes it's the way we communicate it. Probably it's not with clarity. Sometimes it's the time we communicate it. The way you communicate it, the time you communicate it, the way in terms of your tone, your language, your body language, and things like that. The time, in the sense that, okay, the time you are communicating it, what is actually the mood of the leader. And that is why every follower must understand, must study his leader. Every follower must study his leader. He must know when to present a matter. That sometimes you go to your leader with the mindset of presenting a matter to him. And the matter may be a serious matter and may be urgent. But when you get there, you need to study some things, and you must be able to know, oh, when to actually say it and when not to say it. You understand? It's not every time that is good for every discussion. So sometimes it is the time. Probably the man is not even, sometimes it's the time. Of course, I actually know that there are some people I call baby leader. They're just in leadership by virtue of position, one way or the other, probably because they know people, probably because as at that time they were the only one available, probably because of the number of years in service and some other things like that. So they just got the first level of leadership, according to John Maxwell, which is leadership by position. And they don't really know what real leadership is. Now, talking about, I said the kind of people you lead, the kind of people the person that leads you matters. The person that leads you matters. Let me quickly cite a scenario. You know, one, I said the person that leads you matters, and also your vision. There was a time I've read a lot. I've read on leadership. I'm a leadership student. I'm a leadership student. So one day I was with a junior colleague, and so I went to buy. I think I was listening to. Yes, I was listening to one Maxwell book, audio book. I was playing it in my car, and the guy was with me in that car. And so the guy was like, after some time, the guy said, all these things that they are saying, they are not practicable in Nigeria here. I laughed. As much as I tried to convince the guy, he didn't really buy into it. Why? Because he does not see beyond his immediate environment. He believes the kind of leadership is exposed to here and there. So he felt all those things they are saying will work in a in America, Europe, and what have you, but will not work in Africa. But no, of course, we have a bad examples around us on leadership. We have a lot of people in leadership position who does not even know anything about leadership and who are not actually leading. You understand? But if you actually have a global mindset, if you actually have leadership is leadership. Leadership course, leadership is a course. You understand? Leadership is leadership. So you cannot say uh, if your leadership principle work, if you have a leadership principle that cannot work anywhere, that cannot work everywhere, then it's not a leadership principle. And so sorry, that's why Africa is where we are today. With this leadership concepts we are talking about. So these are things that tells us, where do you see yourself? What kind of mindset do you have? What kind of mindset do you have? So that is that on leadership and followership. So now this guy struggles to understand or struggle to come to terms with what Maxwell was teaching on leadership, because one, of his perspective, of his vision, if he has any, of his environment, you understand, and of the nature of vision, of the scope of his vision, and probably because of the people that led him, the kind of leadership he's exposed to. I am passionate about what I was reading, what I was hearing. I was passionate about his teaching because of the kind of leadership that was being provided for me, you know. So leadership is something that we actually need to get right. Now, talking about connection and disconnection, let me talk to the leaders here now. You see, we need to understand that everyone that God brings our way, either God brings them or they come by themselves, or we call them to come. Now, we need to understand that it's not every one of them that are destined to be with us forever. Yes, it's not all of them that are destined to serve us, to be with our organization for long, forever. We need to understand that some people are actually on a short-term course with us. Some people are on a short-term course with us. Some are on a long-term course. You understand? And some are actually sent to be part of what we are doing, part of what God has committed to our hands, part of the assignment, part of the vision in our hand. Some are just to come, just learn from us, and then go their way. Take, for example, I'll take you to the Bible because I believe in the Bible. John the Baptist had disciples. When Jesus came on the scene, two of John Baptist's
disciples, followed Jesus, and they became part of his disciples. In fact, strong pillars. So those ones were they are not actually destined to be with John to the end of John's ministry. They were just to walk. John had finished his assignment over their life as at that point, and so they need to transit to another. The assignment, as far as in Paul's ministry, has ended. So we also need to understand this from the beginning, that not everyone that God brings our way will actually be with us throughout our lifetime, or to the end of our life. No, not everybody. Not everybody. So if we understand this, there will be no need for different kinds of rebellion that we see up and down. There won't be. Of course, I also see people with a lot of how do I put it now? I see people that don't really, that come with a mind that didn't come with a mind to be built. See, every follower, of course, like I have said on this program before, leaders give birth to leaders. Leaders raise other leaders. Now, if you are raising people with the mindset that yes, these are my followers, you have missed it. Your assignment as a leader is to raise other leaders, not to raise followers. So when we are talking about leadership and followership is a form of leadership. It's a form of leadership. But we are saying the followers too are leaders, but they also have leader that they are following. So you should raise people in such a way that yes, they will become somebody, not that they will follow you for they will carry your back all the days of their life. No. You should raise them in such a way that yes, in no time they also become somebody. You understand? They also become somebody that they also have people that carry their bag, that even when they see you, they carry your bag and other people collect it from them. So as a leader, we must raise people with the mindset of raising leaders, not raising followers. Of course, they are still our followers, they still follow us, but they are leaders that are following us. You understand? That is the way it should be. So, like I was saying, you should also understand that some people are led to you to train them and to be released. Just like those two disciples who were with John the Baptist and then transited to Jesus Christ. Do you understand? And you should also know that some are actually to be part and parcel of what God has actually committed to your hand, to be fully committed to it, to be fully part of it, the days of their life. And you know this, and when you have insight into this, it will guide you on the kind of training to provide for each one of them. Let's stop this mindset of gathering people to serve us all the days of their life. And for the followers too,
You see, uh, your leader, even if your active work in that assignment has ended, that does not mean that, yes, for you to discard, yes, he has finished whatever he needed to do in my life, I just discard the leader. No, the relationship must continue. The relationship must continue. You must do it in such a way that the relationship continues only on another level. You understand? So, so how do we disconnect? How do we disconnect? Look at the disciples I was talking about. When they left John the Baptist and moved to Jesus, there was no crisis. There was no crisis. So if you are leaving an organization, if you are leaving a ministry, if for another one, either to start your own or to join another one, you understand, you don't need to cause any crisis for whatever reason. You don't need, you must live in such a way that there will be no crisis. In fact, the living is just a physical and temporal. I said it's just a structural living. Yes, it's just a structural living. Structural living in the sense that, okay, uh, probably you are a pastor, for example, you have been a regional overseer or area pastor in that ministry, and now you are leaving that ministry, either to join another ministry or to start your own. Now, you are leaving that ministry. It's a structural living in the sense that you cease to be area pastor or regional pastor of that organization. But that does not mean that, yes, you will not have anything to do with that organization again. That is not. If you are leaving will make you not to have anything to do with that organization again, then something is wrong. Understand? If you are leaving an organization, might not be a church, it might be any organization. Live in such a way that, yes, you could be invited back, or you could be invited back and you can also invite them. Live in such a way that your resourcefulness, they can source for your resourcefulness. They can, that gifting in you, that ability, that skills in you can then be of benefit to them later. Let's not close the relationship. There could be a structural living, but the relationship should, because one thing, the greatest currency in life has been discovered to be relationship currency. That's the greatest currency in life. Relationship currency. You know, so that is my admonition this evening. I don't know. That's my admonition this evening. Sorry, we have to spend a little extra time. That's my admonition this evening. Let's learn to. Relationship is very important. Relationship is very important. Relationship is very important. Let's try as much as possible to, there is a saying that be careful how you close a door, because you can never tell, you may need to use that door. again. You know, you may need to use that door again. You may need to use that door again. You may need to use that door again. Let's learn to close the door of that relationship in love. Let's learn to really not helping. I want to believe that one way or the other, we have actually been blessed tonight. We have actually been blessed tonight. Not to keep people for the purpose of keeping them, people for the purpose of developing them. Let's develop people to have global mindset. If the only thing you have on your head, if the only ways of doing things you have is work for your work community alone, then you don't have a global mindset. You understand? There's a global approach to everything. There's a globally acceptable approach to everything. So let's get the global, let's to have global mindset. Let's lead people with global mindset and impart global mindset in them. And also, when you are done with the relationship, when you believe you are done with the relationship, let's exercise caution, let's exercise patience, let's exercise wisdom in closing that relationship. Or did I even say close the relationship? We don't even need to close it, but at least pushing it, at least let's exercise patience in the way we, yeah, let's just use that word, the way we close a relationship. You understand? Um, because I think you don't need to. you may need that person tomorrow. You know, you may not even need the person, it may even be your children. Somebody dear to you may need the person. You understand? So, and what are we even fighting for? Supremacy or what? Pray that the Lord will help us and to so that after our race, after all that we have done on this earth, when we are old, if God permits, we will look back at what we are doing now, what all of us are doing today, will become history very soon. You know, and let's look at it that in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you will not be as young as you are today. You will not be as vibrant as you are. There are things you are doing now you will not be able to do then. Let's live our life in such a way that that time will not be full of regrets. A lot of people are in their old age now. They are spending their old age in full regret. But we still have that opportunity to make today count, to lead well and impact life better, and close our relationship well. I want to thank you for your time. I'll appreciate to read from you. Feel free to drop your comments, and let's meet here again next week, God willing. So until then, keep impacting your word. God bless you real good is my prayer.